How do we surrender our life to God? Every second you are present, you are surrendering your life to God. What is the highest devotion to God? Surrender, being present, giving it all up, giving up control, which is very hard to do. When our egos hear there is no control, they spasm, right? The ego resists its own destruction. They say, no, we're in control. Giving up control, that is the highest devotion of God. That is standing in the center of the circle and allowing all things to take their course, being the observer. That is also how we escape the illusion of chaos, fear, and confusion. We have to stop thinking. That's part of giving it all up. Surrender. That is how you give your life to God. So every moment we're devoting to practicing presence and purification, the two highest devotions to God, is a devotion to God. Your life is a devotion to God. So as long as that is our main focus, that we are devoting, that is how we show our love for God, by saying, I trust you completely. I'm giving up the illusion of control. Remember, there is no control. Control only exists in the thinking mind. We think we're somebody doing something. We think we're in control. We think we know. All suffering assumes control. Shame, regret, fear, guilt, sin, judgment. All of these things assume control, but there is no control. What happens when we give up control? What happens when we become the observer, standing in the center of the circle? No control, no thought, detached. We break our identification with our somebodyness. Because as long as we're thinking, we think we're somebody doing something. We think we are our ego. We are identifying with the actor. This creates separation from God. This creates separation in the illusion, right? How does this happen? Through the sea of stimulation, aggravation, and information, which stimulates the cycles of thought, which has us thinking we're somebody doing something, and has us thinking we're in control, right? But there is no control. This is how we devote our lives to God, giving up control, giving it all up, all of our attachments and biases, standing in the center of the circle, which gives us true common sense. And it is, by staying present and surrendering, this is also making space in our mind, emptying and reconstituting the mind, which allows us to gain a deeper understanding. So that's all there is. This is higher self, the present moment, gaining a deeper understanding. All there is to do nothing, because we're not doing anything anyway. If we think we're doing something, we're merely identifying with the doer, the actor. But as soon as you stop thinking, what happens? People like to say, no, buddy, I'm in control, right? Some people say that to me. What happens when you stop thinking? The thing is, the sea of stimulation, aggravation, information is so powerful in the illusion that a lot of us get caught up in the cycles of thought and don't stop thinking ever. So that when you say to someone, stop thinking long enough to become the observer, they say, that's okay if you don't understand that. What happens when we stop thinking long enough to become the observer? We observe our nature running off and everyone else's and everything else's nature running off. And we realize that we're just chemistry and conditioning, nature running off. We're not doing anything. We just think we're somebody doing something. Anything that we do was just our nature running off, and we're just observing it. We're not actually doing it. And it was the only thing that was ever going to happen. When we take the highest perspective, the perspective of God, the center of the circle, stop thinking, surrender, we see these things, right? We gain a deeper understanding. That is what's getting a deeper understanding is so important. We have to stop taking in information. Can you stop taking in the powerful stimulation of information? In order to empty your mind, to gain a true, deeper understanding from the divine, from God. Because every second we are present, we are dissolving the ego, our attachment to the ego, and we are allowing the divine to work through us, what is such as a higher self, the highest devotion to God, is giving it all up. All of our attachments to this sea of very powerful stimulation. We're saying we don't want any of it, any of the illusion. We're not going to think we're somebody doing something, because all suffering assumes control. We think we're in control. What happens when we take this higher perspective? All that goes poof. All of our suffering. Thinking is the cause of all suffering. Stop thinking and end all of your problems. These are not my words. I believe they're from the Tao Te Ching, right? Stand in the center of the circle and allow all things to take their course. Also from the Tao Te Ching. These are very powerful phrases, right? Because that's all there is, right? Stop thinking and end all of your problems, and bring yourself back to oneness with God. That is the highest devotion of God. This is how we escape the illusion. This is how we bring balance. And if you're feeling out of balance, always come back to giving our undivided attention to our cosmic beloved, because that's all God is waiting for, is our undivided attention, which is what? Presence, surrender, stop thinking. We have to remember there's nothing ever to worry about, because there's only divine timing and God is in control. We're not in control anyway. We're just the observer. And every second of our lives, and that is the highest devotion to God. That's how we devote our lives to God. And that's going to let us gain a deeper understanding, which is going to allow our consciousness to continue evolving. So that's why we're here. Just keep giving it up. Keep giving up the stimulation. Realize you don't need anything. You don't need to look for anything. Have the unshakable courage to stop taking in information, right? It's down to your chemistry and condition. You're not doing anything anyway. But again, we're speaking on many different levels, right? Stop taking in information so you can empty your mind, so you can facilitate a better connection with the divine. And how do we do that? We remove the aggravators. Right? We remind ourselves to remove the aggravators. Stop going on your phone. Stop looking at social media. Stop looking at videos. You don't need any of it. Stop chasing information. You don't need to chase information. The only information we need is from the Most High, right? And if the Creator, the infinite Creator, needs our nature to learn some information, we just observe it, no matter, even if it happens. There's something that slaps us in the face and we say, oh, I think the universe wants me to check this out. You're not doing anything anyway, right? You're just observing. You're observing it all. You're observing your being taking in information, right? So you're just observing it. But what I'm saying is stop seeking information and just let the eternal Creator guide us. And this all comes back to the greatest devotion to God, how we devote our lives to God. Presence and purification. Purify the body. The second greatest devotion to God, right, is purification, because our bodies these vessels are God, right? And the highest devotion is taking care of God in such a way that is the highest way to show our love for our cosmic beloved. Calming the body also calms the mind, which allows us to what? Surrender, be present more. That's why purification is also so important, because everything is just working towards giving it all up. Surrender, presence, stop thinking. Facilitating a state of peace as much as possible. Removing yourself from all these aggravating things, people, scenarios, anything like that, is just merely a devotion to God, if you think about it, right? Because anything you're doing to stay more present, to allow God to work through you, because when the divine works through you, then you're doing the greatest good, not only for yourself, but for everyone. You're raising the vibration of the world. You are a vessel of the cosmic beloved working through you, the divine working through you. And that is our reward for surrender. That's your higher self. That's the Atman, giving it all up. So time you feel yourself getting zinged by the illusion from certain areas, they're zinging you, right? They're stressing you out. They're causing you imbalances. We just have to always come back to present. That's it. That's always the answer. Always come back to presence. Maybe you need more meditation. Maybe you need more time alone. Maybe you need less aggravation and stimulation and information, right? Giving up anything like watching any shows, you know what I mean? Listening to anybody talk. You know what I had to do to gain a deeper understanding unknowingly? I just naturally did this. I stopped taking in information. The reason I speak about this so much is from my own experience, what happened to me and my journey of awakening, right? I felt like my mind was so full, so saturated. I said, I need to stop taking in information. That's the reason. I just felt like I just didn't want to hear anymore, right? And through doing that, that brought about a more of calm and peace in the mind, which also helped me go further into higher levels of purification, like all fruit or all raw or all fruit, which brings your consciousness and vibration even higher, right? This is all through presence, and stop taking in information, because information also aggravates and stimulates you, right? Taking in information, seeking information, just grabbing that stimulation. It's a stimulation. So it's going to aggravate the cycles of thought and keep you stuck in the illusion. That's why there's so much stimulation everywhere. Because they need us thinking we're somebody doing something. They create and inflate the ego through stimulating the thinking mind. Because as long as we're thinking, we think we're somebody doing something. We think we're in control. We're identifying with the actor, the ego, the doer. That's what they need. Because that keeps us in lower limiting perspectives. Because we think, as long as we're thinking, we think we know. And when you think you know, you're trapped in a lower limiting perspective. And they're going to be able to manipulate and control us if we think we know, if we're caught in this cycle of thoughts and the ego. So they keep stimulating us. So they ramp up the stimulation, right? They're trying to keep us separated from the divine, because they know once they're really trying to keep us separate, right? They're keeping us separate from the divine. As soon as we find out about presence and we start cleaning ourselves up, shink, now they're in trouble. Here's the divine. Here's the oneness. That vessel is God working through them. What happens if we have lots of vessels sync up through presence and purification and allow the cosmic beloved to work through them? Then they're in trouble. So whenever we run into a wall, like, how are we going to fix this issue? We're just observing things that are being said. How are we going to fix this issue? This issue ain't nothing to think about. To give it all up to God, because God will correct all imbalances outside once we do it internally, right? As above, so below. So if we want to change the world into the utopia that it could be in a very short time, in an instant, basically, keep giving it up. Right? The highest devotion of God. Surrender. So that's it. Stop thinking. Stop thinking. And everything is working towards stop thinking. Because that's staying present. Everything is working toward that, right? Purification. Removing the aggravators. Facilitating a state of peace, right? And through all this, again, comes the deeper understanding when we empty the mind. Stop taking in information. Can you do it? Challenge yourself. See if you can go one day without any taking in information, like videos or news, or so even any social media. Then if you do one day, try to do 2 days, and then keep increasing, slowly increasing it. Let's see if I can go a week. What happens? See how you feel. See what it does to your balance. See what it does to your aggravation or stress, right? See what it does to your purification. Then try to go a month. Like what I used to do is, sometimes you fall off, that's okay. You can either start over, or you can just say, -1 out of 20 good days. Who cares? Keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. It doesn't matter. It's all part of the journey. It's going to happen. You're going to fall off. You're going to get back up. You're just observing anyway, right? I'm talking at many different levels. And keep track. Say no scroll. Like I'll do no scroll day X amount. I haven't looked at scrolls or videos in X amount of days. Trying to stop taking in the information because it's just stimulation and you don't need it. Unless something pops up out of your control, because nothing's in control anyway, then the universe maybe is trying to show you something. Or maybe they're just trying to see if you're locked in, right? You're present. You've given it all up, and you ain't falling for the tricks of the illusion no more. You know what I mean? Eventually, we're going to stop falling for the tricks of the illusion. But until then, we have to keep reminding myself, which is why I'm making these videos. This is why I'm here. I'm here to remind myself, which is also reminding all of you, because we are all one. We are the cosmic beloved. We are God observing itself. So just keep giving it all up, my friends. That's it. Just envision yourself in the most peaceful, calming, relaxed state possible at all times. And say, I don't even got to worry or think about a thing. I don't got to plan. I don't got to strategize. I don't got to do nothing. All I got to do is give it up, because it's all just part of the illusion. Making money, chasing money, right? Getting things, buying things. You don't got to think about a thing. It'll all work itself out beautifully if we just give it all up. Because God's in control, and we can trust God completely. Our Creator, right? This is the name of the game. This is how we devote our lives to the Creator, our beautiful Creator, who loves us in an unfathomable way, like in such a great, infinite way. We are loved beyond measure. So always remember this too, my friends, and myself. You are loved beyond measure, and you are always supported at the highest level as we devote our lives, and always, to God. Presence and purification, surrender. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.